with Aaron Cow.
I throw balls far. You want good words? Data language.
Talk real sports with a real man.
Come after me! I'm a man! I'm 40!
And now, here's the be-all, end-all, know-it-all of high school, college, and pro sports. Aaron Skinny Cow with the Skinny on Sports.
We're talking about practice, man. I'm the MVP.
Good Paul Jones Drug Tuesday out there, Western Oklahoma. Welcome to the Skinny on Sports, right here on 98.1 FM, the Sports Animal. Glad to have you along for the next hour. I'm sure everybody woke up and kind of went, what? What's going on out here? There's this stuff falling from the sky. Good solid rain. I think it's going to continue for the next couple of days on and off through like Thursday, and then maybe cool down and then warm up. It's kind of that fall. You never know exactly what we're going to get. Instead of it just being like,
I know what you get.
why can't it just be 65 every day?
I woke up and I got like a stuffed ear, and my nose is running. That's what I got.
For what?
I don't know. Something sudden change in the weather. Guess that's what it did. I don't know. Like I like that feeling in my right ear canal. Feels like I need to like pop it, and it's just like it's like stuffed up. Almost to the point there's a ringing.
That normally doesn't start until it like goes from 80 to 40 to 80 to 40. We really didn't have that number just yet.
Not really. And then in my nose, I took an allergy pill this morning, a 24-hour allergy pill. Hopefully that helps it out.
You and Jimmy on the allergy pills.
Jimmy has to take the allergy pills?
Yeah, he takes them daily, though.
No. Well, I understand why he would have to. He's out in the field all the time.
Well, I mean, come on.
And he's like 68 years old. So.
Yeah, he's an old man.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what happened 36 years ago today?
36 years ago would be 1980. Is that 8? What is that? What happened 36 years ago?
The first ever night game was played at Owen Field.
Oh, wow. That's a trivia question I don't think I would have ever answered.
Number 1, Oklahoma defeated Colorado 24-6 under the lights despite fumbling 9 times.
And I wonder how many people back then said, we should be playing at night.
Well, if I remember
Just
right.
like the same people are saying, why are we playing 11 a.m. games?
I think they had to bring in light. There was no permanent lighting at Owen Field at the time.
Wow.
Pretty sure they brought in lights for this extravaganza. Then, of course, they saw that it worked, and, you know, the rest is history. And now they get to turn them on at 11 a.m. every week for the
Yeah.
Oklahoma games now.
Yeah.
All right, coming up on the show today. Oh, good.
What's that?
A little story just popped up. I'm going to try to avoid this one, but it's Megan Rapinoe. Guess who she's raising money for?
I don't think I even want to know. I got an idea, though. Who?
Gaza, following the Hamas. You think that Megan Rapinoe realizes that if she lived in Gaza, they would kill her?
They would, yeah.
Because of her lifestyle?
No, she's not a very smart person.
Nah. Anyhow, that just kind of popped up. All right, coming up on the show today, college football. Man, is there drama in Hollywood. Did you see what happened yesterday?
Man, someone called in sick.
Yeah.
To work.
Remember what happened last time there was a sick call?
Yeah. He was very mysterious on the bye week. What'd you do? Oh,
No.
didn't. Yeah.
Yeah, lots of drama with Lincoln, Caleb. We'll talk about that. Speaking of drama, man, this Michigan stuff is heating up.
I've been following it loosely.
There's just more and more things coming out
More and more
daily
smoke
almost.
here, huh?
Yeah, oh yeah. Receipts and buying tickets to different Big Ten games. Buying tickets on both sides of the stadium. Wonder why you'd do that.
Man.
There were tickets purchased to last week's Ohio State Penn State game on both sides of the stadium.
Oh, wow.
Now, he didn't go because he got suspended.
Well, he got caught.
Yeah, this all came out. Does it – I mean, can we just think about what was happening just, 2.5 years ago? Which is kind of the timeline of when maybe this started. What was the narrative?
That Harbaugh could not beat Ohio State, couldn't win a big game.
Couldn't win the Big Ten.
Couldn't
beat Ohio State.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden it's like, And then now you see videos, you see pictures during games of this individual in the ear of the defensive coordinator and the offensive coordinator at different times, just standing right there by him. Wonder why you'd do that if he wasn't doing this. I mean, I'm all for stealing signs, but apparently that's not. They're on. This guy is on surveillance video in Big Ten stadiums, filming the coaches for the other teams during games, and it's during games.
Right.
Not looking good for Michigan. Not looking good. Was Iowa robbed?
Yeah, I don't know. I've watched that over and over again. That alleged fair catch call.
At any point, did you think he was calling for a fair catch?
Watching it live and without any reference of what happened, no. I thought he was pointing out blockers. I think you slightly see his right hand go up, but I don't think that was a fair catch call.
Well,
I think
it was
anyone who's
nowhere
watched
above his head.
football enough would know you got to be pretty clear, Anyways.
Yeah, and what's crazy is the way that the review transpired. Not for that. That's not why they reviewed the play. We'll have our college football top tens. Man, speaking of officials, tough week in the NFL for the officials. Just some blatant misses. Boy, the Rams. Talk about a tough deal there. Did you see that at the end?
No.
We'll talk about that. The Rams, Miami, Cleveland. Actually, I guess, Cleveland all really took the short end. Hey, at what point do we start to question Justin Herbert?
Yeah,
at what point is it fair to question Justin Herbert? Big topic now is the tush push. Do you have a problem with it? What's the best division in football? I know we had our opinions before the season. I know my opinion's going to change. Since we've seen, 7 or 8 games. And then our top 5's in the NFL. Then, as bad as I hate to, we're going to let you loose at the top of the show to discuss the Rangers being in the World Series. Against my better judgment.
I'm sorry that they won.
Against my better judgment.
I'm sorry
we're gonna
that
have
I
to
was
do it.
right.
We're going to have
I'm gonna give it up to myself. I'm
it.
sorry.
We're going to have to let you do it here at the top of the show. 225-9698 is the phone or the text line. That's 225-9698. Give us a call, shoot us a text. We can talk about any of those things. Whatever else might be on your mind, feel free to chime right in at 225-9698. If you're going to be outside the listening area, a couple ways to stay in touch with the show. Log on to kadsam.com or download the app. The app has got it all. It's got radio. It's got the Penny News. Brand new edition of that Penny News will hit the website tonight at midnight, thepennynews.com. Big Elk and Paragon TV back on the airs Friday night for high school football. And, of course, the Skinny on Sports podcast. If you missed the show entirely, you can go ahead and check that out anywhere where you find podcasts. How are you today, Jared?
I'm very good, despite the whole allergy thing.
All right, so last night, Game 7 of the American League Championship Series. And from almost the first pitch, the Rangers took control. 3-run first inning. And just continued to score runs. I don't know. There's lots to unpack. But for me, and I thought John Smoltz pointed this out tremendously throughout the broadcast. In a Game 7, normally the more aggressive team wins. And I think that's exactly what the Texas Rangers were last night. At the plate, against Javier, who had been almost unhittable in the playoffs. They just jumped all over. I mean, you could see, like the Seager home run, man, he was sitting dead red on that pitch, ready to blast it. Stealing bases, it just felt like to me the Rangers were the more aggressive team, were the more confident team, which is shocking considering where what these two teams have actually accomplished kind of in their careers or what have you. But the Rangers took it right to the Astros, and the Astros just never really found any footing. To me, I think maybe the biggest play of the game was in the bottom of the first inning. First and third, 1 out, and Scherzer cooks that double play. I think it was it Brantley? Yeah, I think it was Brantley that hit it to the double play. And to that point, Houston had been hitting. They hit Scherzer hard the whole time. But that play right there kind of snuffed out the crowd, and then Texas comes back and ends up adding runs, and I think it was 4-2 at one point after Bregman hit the home run, and then bam, 4 runs, and it's 8-2, and that's kind of sayonara. So what kind of tell us what you thought about what you saw last night in Game 7?
I love the aggressive nature of it. I've always been a fan of being aggressive at the plate, getting on top early, and being aggressive base running, and it played in perfectly there in the early parts of that game that produced those runs. The storyline is awesome with Garcia. If you didn't know his story, you heard it probably more than once last night about how his journey to the Rangers through the Cardinals and even the Rangers tried to get rid of him, and nobody wanted him. And then there he is, the MVP last night, just smashing the ball and kind of embracing that villainous role that Houston has placed on him. And awesome. I mean, I was euphoric last night just watching it, and I love the approach and everything that Chris Young has done, and building the team 2 years ago and getting Bochy, a veteran guy, to getting him to come out of retirement, who just does not lose Game 7s, gets Scherzer doing, and I love Scherzer after the game, and he's like, oh yeah, just it was good to bring in Jordy, and he wasn't. It's like it's all about a team thing, a team effort, and he was happy with it, and it's just awesome, just an awesome feeling. I mean, it was awesome for me personally. With my youngest kid couldn't make it; she fell asleep, but my oldest, Katie, and when they won the game, I realized these girls were not live the last time back in 2011 when they went to the World Series. And now my girls get to watch my favorite team in the World Series, and that was just big for me. And I mean, I'm hugging her, and she's like, "Well, what's going on? What's wrong? Why you?" It's like, because I want you to see this. I want you to be a part of this and to see this. And very special for Ranger fans. And it makes you wonder about the Astros. Is this it? I mean, does Dusty Baker come back? There's been kind of that floated up in the air. What's the structure of the team going to look like? How's it? Altuve peaked? Will he continue to be Mr. October in Houston? Or
it didn't seem like that was going anywhere.
No, he was not. He was not going away without a fight.
Him and Alvarez and Bregman were going nowhere.
No, so that's the question, and I certainly hope the Rangers isn't like a flash in the pan. Let's hope that they can, despite what happens in the World Series, I hope they just continue to compete at a high level. And if that's the case, and if the Astros aren't going anywhere, I mean, expect more of this, right? Just every series throughout the summers and hopefully into the postseason, because that was a lot of fun. I mean, you got the bench clearing. This series had a little bit of everything. Not one home team won a game. Absolutely nuts. And I love it. I love the rivalries like this, especially in postseason baseball. I love Boston and New York when it's in postseason. I mean, who doesn't get excited for that? Even if you're not rooting for anybody, just to turn it on and watch that rivalry. This kind of has it's kind of turned it's like the Texas version of that. It's the Midwest version of that of that kind of rivalry. So I certainly hope that both organizations are still top level.
Yeah, as cool as Yankees Red Sox was for years, I think this would be even neater, just because it's right here. In the center of America.
Yeah.
Does it?
Because, I mean, we got Astros fans here. We got Ranger fans intertwined in this region, maybe not so much like Boston and New York in this area, right? You got some of those diehards, but
oh no, you don't have very many diehards. You got a bunch of front runners. That's the difference in this is if you're a Ranger and an Astro fan, you were a fan. You don't really just pick up the Astros as they're winning.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And you don't pick up the Rangers
yeah.
as they're winning.
Yeah.
Especially here. You kind of were there already. Whereas it's pretty easy just to fall into the Red Sox Yankees trap or,
glad you said that.
There's not a bunch of day one.
I know a couple.
There are some, but
I know a couple.
A majority
Good friend of mine's a big Boston fan, and he's been since forever. But
a majority
he's gone to
are
Boston to watch a game.
Right.
He's been to Fenway. But I also have a friend. I'm not naming names, but suddenly he's not so big of a Yankee fan anymore.
Yeah, it's weird how that happens.
And he's suddenly not a big New England fan anymore. That's so funny.
How can you root for the Yankees and New England Patriots?
I don't know.
That doesn't seem right.
I have no clue. I don't know. I can
tell you how, because you don't really have a team. You just root for whoever's winning. Yeah, Will's right. He's got a friend that jumped into the Milwaukee Brewers trap.
The trap.
Yeah.
Oh man.
This is another disgruntled Cub fan that can't win the NL Central, make the playoffs. I get it, Will. It's hard to be a Cubbies fan, and that's really more true than I'm even letting on because of the tortured past of those guys. But that is what makes it fun. Like, when the Cubs, you see some of that happen. Oh yeah, go Cubs. Well, guess what? I know that Will and Mickey are Cub fans. That's all I got. You know what I mean? I don't care about the rest of some of y'all on Facebook or this and that. I'm going to be happy for those two. Just like, thinking about the Rangers. All right, I know you're a fan. I know Ham is a fan of the Rangers, for sure.
Yep.
So, way to go. How did it happen? How did this happen? I mean, I ask you, think maybe after the Tampa series ended, like in your wildest dreams, your wildest optimistic dreams of a season, what could that look like? And the World Series certainly. I mean, you couldn't bring yourself to that, right? In the preseason, could you bring
No,
that's what I'm saying.
No.
In the preseason, could you have possibly brought yourself to a rangered up level enough to go, golly, if this happens, we can be in the World Series?
Of course not. No, I'm realistic.
Like a playoff berth, a wild card?
Well, I think that's what I said a few weeks ago. That was my expectation, just compete for a playoff spot. And they certainly did that, and obviously, and when you get to playoffs, that's everybody's dream. It's like you just give yourself a chance. That's why playoffs are so fun. If everybody has the record's clean, it's 0-0, everybody has a shot. Now, when the playoffs started, I thought, okay, as it went on, getting the 2 wins in Tampa, going to Baltimore and getting the wins, sweeping them. And I think how it played out for me, it got more realistic with the pitching because they got great starts and they barely had to tap into the bullpen. And, of course, the hitting was there. I mean, so if the hitting wasn't there and you saw what you got, but the pitching was there. And like last night, I was kind of had back in my mind, okay, it's time for a breakout game with the bats. It's time. It's been kind of lull, Game 5 and so forth. So it's kind of time, and then it happened. So the bats have that ability to give you 10 runs a game, but the pitching for me, when I started really, now to answer your question, I was not in April looking for hotels in October. I wasn't doing that. I was just like I said, just be better than what you have been the past 2 years. It's been embarrassing, and there's no reason they shouldn't. They got DeGrom, Seager and Simeon, and the team is built to win now. That was the idea in the offseason. You could see it. So I thought, be better, compete for maybe a wild card spot. And they competed for the AL West the entire year.
Yeah, it's
they
amazing.
Exceeded my expectations.
I mean, 101 losses 2 years ago, 94 last year. I mean, and what's nuts is when they went out and got Seager and Simeon, 2 summers ago, everybody thought they were crazy. Like, what in the hell are you doing? But then then last summer added pitching, tried to anyway.
Well, they tried.
Didn't necessarily work. But then even at the trade deadline, you looked at the first 2 dudes that were on the hill last night were the guys they got at the trade deadline with Scherzer and Montgomery.
And that was funny when the trade deadline happened and everyone was going crazy about Scherzer. They also got Montgomery on the same day, And you start hearing people who really knew baseball or knows baseball saying, hey, that Montgomery pickup might be bigger than Scherzer. You know, it might be. Watch that kid. That kid's a good pitcher too. They just added two really good guys. It turned out Montgomery has been the bigger pitcher, obviously because of injury to Scherzer, but he's been the bigger pitcher in the postseason.
I think it's amazing what they've done. You talked about leading BL virtually from the very beginning. They had that division lead until they didn't on the last day of the season. And for them to change everything, to kind of flip the script after essentially choking the division off over the last week, to just kind of flush that and start anew in Tampa, a team that won 99 games and was, red hot off the bat and then fizzled just a little bit, but whatever. Still one of the best teams in baseball in the regular season. To flip that around and now all of a sudden end up in the World Series, that's amazing. And I think people wonder, okay, what do the managers actually do? You see sometimes here and there a move in a game. It's questioned or it's lauded. Bochy doesn't really – he just kind of writes, here's his guys, man. Here we are. But I think you got to give him some credit, the players, the whole organization really, for being able to wipe that disappointment away because they in their minds they were coming back to Arlington, hanging out for a few days, getting some rest before they had to start a division series, and bam, that's flipped on its head, and now you're in Tampa, fighting for your life, and for them to be able to on one flight from Seattle to Tampa change the mojo of that team is incredible. They deserve amazing amount of respect and credit for that.
Bochy, what he brings to the clubhouse, obviously a lot of respect. I think all those players, when you get a guy that's done it, been there, done that guy, and he has this calming presence about him, doesn't panic. But, very from what I've seen, there's been slight lineup changes, moving guys around in the hitting lineup. And no one questions him. And I think another big acquisition in coaching was Mike Maddox, getting him back, the pitching coach for the Rangers.
Well, and I don't think there was a huge series. What was it, in August or early September when Houston swept Texas?
Oh, with no resistance either.
And what happened the very next day? The very next day after that sweep, Evan Carter came to the big club.
Absolutely.
And that has to be pointed out as well for part of the not resurgence, because they were never out of the playoffs. Well, there was times where they were behind Toronto. There was times where when Seattle got hot and in a day here, a day there, where if the season ended, the Rangers weren't even in the playoffs, weren't even in the wild card. I think bringing Evan Carter up when they did has to at least be pointed out. But the trends all favored the Rangers going into the game last night, the historical trends. And they all held up.
Well, you mentioned Bochy
and Dusty Baker.
Yep.
Bochy had never lost a Game 7. Dusty's never won one. Still hasn't. And then also there's still never been a team to make it to the World Series that had a losing record at home. And that continued last night. Houston was 39-42 in the regular season at home. And they started giving out the stats there really about the time the Rangers started taking the lead, about how futile it's been at home down the stretch for Houston. I think last night was their 22nd loss in the last 31 there. That is astounding. It just doesn't make any sense, right?
Does not.
So let me ask, did last night simply boil down, because these two guys, one on each side, who have been so dynamic and so successful in the playoffs, weren't? But did it come down to the fact that Corey Seager figured out how to hit and Kyle Tucker never did?
Well, yeah. I can see that.
I don't think it can be overstated how much I think it helped the Rangers, not just scoring 3 in the first inning, that Seager was part of it because of how much he had struggled in the ALCS.
Absolutely.
To get, hey, there's our guy again. He just rocked him.
Yeah.
Here we go. I don't think that could be overstated because of kind of how he is. I think you listen to him after the game, he seems like such a laid-back super dude. And really, it seems like, all the Rangers but one are like that. And that one is completely not like that.
Like Garcia?
Yeah. Yeah. One of those guys isn't like the other, but he has fun doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he channeled that energy, that negative energy that was rained upon him by the Houston fans. And I get that sports, I get it. It's like he channeled it for the good.
Yeah, he's too much for me.
I
mean, I would be so pissed if I was his teammate in the first inning of Game 7 and he rips one off the wall, stands there, and only gets a single. Now, he did steal second, so it basically ended up being all for naught. But still.
I wasn't mad. You know why? Because I looked at my kids and said, don't ever do that.
That's a teaching
you see
moment.
That? He should be on second base right now.
Which,
don't do
honestly,
that.
he hit it so hard, and the ball came right back to Brantley. I don't think he would have been at second.
I know.
I think it was a single anyway.
The way it popped off that wall, yeah.
But still, it was just like, holy cow.
I thought it was foul, the way he stood. I thought, it's going foul. But
I thought it was for sure a home run.
The camera angle, I was like, that's going out. That's good. I was like, get up, get up, get up.
Yeah.
And then I used a lot. That's also fun when my kids are watching. You know why, Garcia? My youngest kid, James, right fielder.
Mm-hmm.
She thinks, I'm only in right field because I'm blah. I should be in the infield. But they just stick me out here in right field. Nothing happens in right field. How many balls were hit to Garcia
It's funny you say
time?
that because it both sides.
Yeah.
It seemed like the right fielders were running around. I mean, how many – Tucker had about 3 chances to rob a home run, it felt like.
Oh, man, that guy can get it. I mean, how many times has
Dude, that one hit his glove. I couldn't believe
it. The tip of his glove. But I told James, I said, look, he's a right fielder. That's the guy who's hitting all these home runs. This right fiilder, and her eyes lit up.
Yeah, the MVP of the series.
Oh, she fell asleep. She didn't see that part.
Yeah.
But I really, really loved my kids watching that because I was doing that. I was like, see, this is why we do this. This is why we cut off. This is why we run when we hit. We don't watch the ball.
Yeah, quit watching the I know you're not worried about going out of the park, but still don't watch the ball.
Well, we got kids who just hit the ball and they start jogging. I'm like, don't watch the ball.
Oh, I know.
Run the first.
Everyone's had that issue. Every single player that's ever played softball or baseball has done that. Yes. There's just no doubt about it.
Yeah.
So your home team, no matter what,
I thought if it was going to be Arizona, it was going to be.
You had more wins in Arizona.
Oh, that's the tie break.
Yeah, that's the first time. The only reason those series came in is because all 3 teams had won 90 games. Houston, Texas, and Philly all won 90. So that's why that series – because when they first said it, I thought, now wait a minute. We looked it up. Arizona beat Texas like 3 out of 4. But then I remembered it's wins first.
Makes sense. Makes total sense.
So Texas will be the home team 4 games in Arlington if it goes to 7 in the World Series. Do you have a preference?
Can we appeal that? Do we?
Well,
as Ranger fans, I don't know if we want to be at home. And
do you have a preference on opponent?
Arizona.
Really?
100%.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Yeah. Even though they've had their number, they have a winning record against the Rangers this year. Just Philly just seems like they're on a roll.
Until yesterday.
Yeah.
Diamondbacks force. How about this?
That is.
Think back to after the first 2 games of these series. How much odds would you have given me that both went 7?
Oh, not very good odds.
What do you mean? Yeah, I know. I'd have got big-time odds for making that bet.
Oh, yeah, you know what I mean. Yeah, I wouldn't have...
It didn't look like 7-game series to start.
The way it started with Philly and the Rangers, they both started 2-0. No, but even it's very rare. When's the last time we've seen?
Ooh, I'd have to look that up.
Yeah.
Game 7 tonight, NLCS. It's amazing how every game in the Rangers Houston series, it was like the road team jumped out every single time. And the crowd never even really got to get in it. You know, obviously the Garcia home run in Game 5 was probably the pinnacle of that as far as home team crowd rolling, and then Altuve just crushed that. Interesting.
Very.
Very, very interesting. Game 7 tonight, and then we'll know. It starts Friday.
Yeah, I'm going to be a little distracted Friday during our broadcast.
Do I need to invite Ham up at halftime to talk about girls basketball season coming up, and then
do that.
A bunch of Ranger love instead? Not even mention the Elcats. Is that what needs to happen? Should we wait till the playoff game if y'all win?
I just hope I don't nearly break my phone like I did last Friday.
It's a Paul Jones Drug Tuesday. We'll be back.
Paul Jones Drug is Elk City's most experienced compounding pharmacy, meaning they can custom make your prescription medications to your doctor's specifications, safely and effectively providing you with exactly what you need. And for your convenience, Paul Jones Drug has a drive-through pickup window as well as curbside service for testing and vaccinations, and offers free local delivery. Just a couple reasons you should choose Paul Jones Drug, 809 North Main Street in Elk City.
I'm Rodney Skinner with Paul Jones Drug, and I promise we provide care you can trust.
How much you want to make a bet I can throw a football over the mountains?
The Skinny on Sports.
That's what I'm talking about.
Welcome back, Skinny on Sports, 98.1 FM, the Sports Animal, hanging out here in studio on a Paul Jones Drug Tuesday. Thank you to Rodney Skinner and the gang down at Paul Jones Drug, 809 North Main Street, right here in Elk City. Paul Jones Drug is care you can trust. They are the oldest compounding pharmacy in Elk City. Free local delivery, drive-through pickup, curbside testing, and vaccinations. You know, a bunch of people getting flu shots right about now.
Yeah, I got one the other
Go
day.
in there. Long-term care unit packaging. They call them the blister packs there at Paul Jones Drug. 809 North Main. Give them a call, 225-2121. NFL week ended last night. Monday night football.
Oh, there was football on last
with
night?
the Minnesota Vikings defeating the San Francisco 49ers. Minnesota now has won a couple of games in a row. All of a sudden shooting up those division standings at 3-4. While the 49ers are now in a tie atop the NFC West, at least in the loss column, with the Seattle Seahawks. Man, it was a tough week for the officials. So I referenced the Pittsburgh-Los Angeles Rams game. So the Steelers have the lead by a touchdown, 24-17. There are 2 minutes and 12 seconds left on the clock in the fourth quarter. Pittsburgh has it 4th and 1. The 2 minutes and 12 seconds is going to be important here, because they try the quarterback sneak. The officials give them a first down. It is a horrific spot. Everybody knows it's a terrible spot. They show the replay. It's not even close. It's like almost a yard short. And LA can do nothing about it, because LA had exhausted their timeouts, and the play happened before the 2-minute warning. Therefore, the automatic review did not kick in. And with that first down, Pittsburgh won the game. Go to Miami. You can say undisciplined, or you can say what was going on there. The Eagles win 31-17 and were not called for a single infraction the entire evening. There's video of a play on 4th down that Cedric Wilson got his face mask grabbed by Bradbury, no call. And then in Cleveland, Indy, did you see how that one ended?
No.
Dude, Minshew threw it into the freaking stand. No, it was Cleveland. Cleveland threw it into the stands. P.J. Walker. Literally, the ball almost landed in the stands. And the officials call pass interference on the Colts. Whatever happened to uncatchable ball?
Right.
And it wasn't like right behind, wasn't like at the goalpost. It was like at the pylon, and it got into the stands. It was a rough week, and Listen, I'm the last guy that wants a bunch of reviews because it slows the game down. But, man, it seems like to start this season, and maybe this happens every year, it's just prisoner of the moment and the bias of now or whatever. But, gosh, it seems like the officials are making a bunch of game-changing, game-altering calls, game-winning calls over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah. I think when one or two happen, the fan, us, we start to hyper-focus in on seeing more and more of them. But I think it's just kind of a coincidence thing. I mean, because they are human. They're trying to do their best. But there are some, like the pass interference. I think the problem is the wide receivers keep making these awesome grabs. And
that's
maybe you could have
point.
caught that. Maybe you could have leaped up 10 feet and brought it down with 2 fingers.
That's exactly right. I mean, it is as much as kind of joke, but
it's uncatchable for us, but not for these.
Yeah, I mean, what does that mean when you see some of the stuff these guys are doing? When it lands in the stands, I'm gonna go ahead and say that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
but your point is really well taken and well made because there's no doubt that is the difference. Is what constitutes that when you see these incredible plays on a weekly basis. I don't know what you do about what happened to the Rams because they have to take you can't save a timeout. The clock, the time is way more valuable than having a timeout. Mm-hmm. And so it's in the 2-minute rule. You don't see that very often, but it does happen to where a play ends up like that.
No, all our Aaron grievances, the number one thing that irritates me, and I don't say it a lot, but I see it a lot at every level, is when the ball is placed and then an official comes up, picks it up, and moves it one way or the other. I'm like, wait, it's placed. Stop moving it. It's already placed. Does that make sense? It's like the little thing for me.
Yeah, it's like, why didn't you put it in the right spot the first time?
Yeah, why didn't you just get it right the first time instead of, I feel like in football, and I could be way off, if the ball is placed, and hopefully we have an official that listens and might chime in and let us know. If the ball is placed, that hand comes off, you can't move it. Leave it there. That's where the official put it. But then they come up and they'll move it forward or backward like half a yard or not even that. I'm like, well, what are we doing here?
Mm-hmm. Well, and it goes to the argument that's really starting to get further out there is we have all this technology.
Yeah.
Why are we letting humans spot the football?
Yeah. And the same can be said about balls and strikes in baseball. We have all that technology. Why do we need a guy?
I mean, we see it on the screen in baseball.
Yeah.
And it's being used in the minor leagues. Matt Holliday was on with Jim a couple of weeks ago talking about this very thing. He said they play 6-game series in the minor leagues. 3 are with human umpires and 3 are with that. And all you do, if you don't like the call, you just tap your helmet. You tap your helmet. It's that long. They look at it. Nope, that was a strike. Oh, no, it was a ball. I mean, it changes the count however you're trying to change the count.
So 2 things. Did he prefer one over the other?
He actually didn't mind. He couldn't believe he was saying it, but he actually didn't mind the balls and strikes being called by the computer, basically.
The robo-umps. And so second, if it's called by the robots or whatever, it feels like that would speed up the game.
Yeah, he definitely said that happens.
Because pitch, boom, strike. I don't know.
Well, and here's the deal. You've still got an umpire there. Mm-hmm. It's just telling him what the call is.
Oh, it's like buzzing in his ear.
Exactly, and then you as the viewer probably don't notice any different. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like if it buzzes.
I thought it would be nobody back there.
No, there's actually a guy back there.
Which makes sense
because you've got to call plays at the plate.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's just.
And how many times have you seen like a foul ball or not or even a pass ball and it would graze the umpire? I don't know. You want somebody there. But it makes sense. No, I don't know. The official thing in the NFL, I try to be more lenient of like they're humans. They're doing their best. We have the luxury at home to watch the slow motion replay instantly, see the yellow line on the field and well, that's probably that's a first down. You know, we have all that luxury, and I know they have the replay luxury and stuff, but within the confines of rules, when they are able to use it. But sometimes I think it's just sometimes there's a week where just a lot of that stuff happens.
Is it too much to ask on the replay situation? It's supposed to be indisputable video evidence. Well, if that's the case, is it too much to ask then that if you can't see it in real time, you can't slow it down to make a change? If it's that obviously missed, you ought to be able to see it in real time. Is that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you're saying, yeah.
Because it feels like as it slows down, you can make almost anything happen at that point. I mean, I always go back to that play in the overtime of Virginia, Texas Tech in the NCAA finals a few years ago in the men's tournament. There's a play where the ball is slapped out of the hand, and it's one of in the run of the game, it's Texas Tech's ball all day long. The ball just knocked out of your hand, out of bounds, throw it in. And they stop the game, and they speed it, they slow it down to whatever frame for frame for frame, and you can like see it going off his fingernail, and they change the call. You know, that's not what that's designed for. You know what I mean? I don't believe that that's what that's designed for.
I understand what you're saying.
At what point do we start giving Justin Herbert a little flack?
It should be coming, but the coach is going to get the axe first.
I think that's what's saving him. Because I think he's not catching a bunch of flack because people are blaming everything on Staley, and that Staley's not putting him in the best position, and that he's the one holding Justin Herbert down. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, Justin Herbert has lost more games since becoming the starting quarterback of the Chargers than anybody in the league, any starting quarterback in the league. His numbers at the end of games are brutal. Absolutely brutal for a guy that's thrown for as many yards and all that as he has.
I mean, he's so bad that planted fan is just crying. She's still crying right now.
That's 2 weeks in a row now. In big moments, he's thrown picks. Into the game against Dallas, and then the other day against the Chargers, a pick down on the goal line, and then another pick. It was over, but
if it's Baker Mayfield, it's all Baker. He's so bad. He's not a quarterback.
Or Dak Prescott.
Exactly. Yeah, Herbert. It's getting the buck's being passed to his coach first.
It is. There's no doubt about that. And
now that won't last.
Quite frankly, it probably should.
If they fire him and go hire Lincoln Riley, and the same thing continues, then Lincoln Riley might get a pass this time.
Could
See
be.
what I'm saying?
Yeah, very well. What do you think about a lot of discussion about the tush push? Do you have a problem with it?
Yeah, if it's within rules.
It's within the rules, right?
It's within the rules.
And
I can't complain about it. They're not breaking a rule.
As much as I would love to penalize Philly, and I would love to penalize Philly, it's not their fault that they have the right personnel to do it. Because everyone else is trying it, but everyone else doesn't have a quarterback that can squat 4 billion pounds. And just, I heard Jim talking about it yesterday. There's times, and the other night there was one play where Jalen Hurts' feet literally weren't on the ground. He was just kind of crowd surfing to a first down. But that doesn't happen all the time. Normally it's because he is so strong, and you've got Kelsey and you've got Dickerson right there to just – it works. And everybody's trying to emulate it, and nobody can pull it off like the Eagles. Now, here's where I think it could change, where there could be a rule put in place for this not to be allowed. If it gets down to, say, 4 minutes left in the Super Bowl, and Philly is up 3, and all they do is run the tush push for 2 or 3 yards a time and melt the clock, and I can see it happening. I mean, because it's not like it only gets like a half a yard every time, just enough for a first down. No. You could run it 3 times in a row and probably get a first down.
Yeah. I cannot get upset with it because it's in the rules, and I'm sure they're going to look at it and alter it and say a player can't aid another player, whatever it is. But for right now, I'm not mad at it.
Well,
I'm not upset with it. It reminds me of a time back in college, back in the old college days, back in the old dorm days, where we played a lot of video game football, like Madden. And we had these leagues and stuff, and we had to play each other. And I would get a 2-score lead, and I would sit on it, and I would just go up to the huddle, just wait. Play clock go down to 1, snap it. And this guy got so mad at me. He said, "What are you doing?" I said, "What rule am I breaking?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not breaking a rule. Don't get mad at me. I'm within the rules. So I can't get mad at Philly, even though I want to. I don't like Philadelphia, but they're not breaking a rule.
No, they're not. They're absolutely not breaking a
And
rule.
if everyone else can do it, they do it too.
Everyone else tries.
They just so
It
happen to be
doesn't
doing
work.
it. Reminds me also of when Miami debuted the Wildcat.
Mm-hmm.
And we're like, whoa, what is this? He can't take a snap. What's going on here?
And eventually people figured out how to stop that.
Right.
But here's the problem. At least for Philly, I don't know how you stop that.
I just get bigger guys to push them back, I guess. I don't know. And, somebody's going to figure it out. I mean, somebody's going to figure out, okay, they're going to run up to the line to do the tush push. There's going to be some other kind of variation of it on defense. Okay, then linebackers get in the gaps. Safeties get up here and push back. I don't know.
Or
Or maybe the other way around. Get the safeties in there and get the linebackers. I don't know what's going to happen.
There's still also that concern of what if they don't run it?
Yeah.
What if they just do something different?
And that's
when we
why
got
football is fun. You
That's
got
right.
the cat and mouse guessing and coaches versus coach. That's why it's
I don't know why it became legal again in 2005 because it used to be illegal to do that.
I thought it was.
It was for a long time.
Didn't USC back?
But it was that was the first year it was back legal. It was 2005.
Was it? I remember screaming. I didn't know it was legal at that time. I thought
I don't think anybody else did either.
That is illegal. You can't do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I don't think anybody else realized it was, but it turns out it was.
I wonder if they even knew it was.
Probably not. What's the best division of football?
AFC North.
I think so too. But here's the sneaky one. And it goes down just a tick because of what happened last night. But NFC West is pretty darn good. The Rams are pretty good. 49ers are very good when they're all there. And the Seahawks are better than you realize. And you know what? You know who else isn't terrible for a bad team? The Cardinals. The Cardinals will fight you.
Oh, yeah.
But I agree. AFC North. We thought it was going to be the AFC East. Miami hasn't beaten a single good team. Now, they've been flashy, but they've beaten 0. Yeah. Buffalo's a humongous disappointment. The Jets don't have Rodgers, and New England's one of the worst teams in the league. That's not it. And then in the NFC East, the Giants and Commanders are awful. And the Cowboys may not be quite as good as we thought.
Gave us,
my gosh.
Yeah.
Boy, Jonathan Allen's mad. See him? He was dropping all kinds of F-bombs about tired of it. Anyway, I'm with you. I think it's AFC North. Give me your top 5 in the NFL.
Where's my list? There we go. I'll go, Miami's barely hanging on to my top 5, but I still put them at 5. But you're right. They haven't – if you look at their schedule, they have not played anybody.
They haven't beaten anybody.
They haven't beaten anybody. And the 2 losses have come – so, yeah. I've dropped San Francisco down to 4. 2 losses in a row. Might be a little concerning. Baltimore's up to 3, and this is where a lot of controversy. Kansas City 2, and I put Philadelphia 1. Philly bounced back from a loss, right? And they look good doing it against a pretty solid team. So I think Philly's the best team right now. Barely edging out Kansas City. Kansas City is very good too.
I didn't even have a 5th. I don't have any idea.
That was hard for me. It really was.
I honestly, I didn't even write one down. I don't have any clue. By the time I had some faith in Detroit, good Lord, did they get smoked. Buffalo, The Dolphins, they haven't beaten anybody any good. Is it Seattle?
I don't know.
Seattle? I think I'm going to put Seattle. They are 4-2. And I know they've beaten Detroit. Let's see here. They lost to the Rams. They lost to the Bengals. They beat – oh, my gosh. Never mind. They beat Detroit. And then Panthers, Giants, and Cards. Never mind. They ain't beating nobody either. I don't know. Maybe it's Dallas. How about Dallas at 5? I don't know. Miami's beating nobody. They're all kind of the same there. And then I'm the same except for the top 2. I've got San Francisco 4, Baltimore 3. I got Philly 2. Kansas. I've been really reluctant to put Kansas City 1 all year long.
Yeah.
But, man, here's the deal. Are they as explosive on offense as they have been? No. I think getting Hardman back in Kansas City actually helps them more than you realize. Kelsey can just get open. But here's the thing. They don't have to be. Their defense is good.
No, their defense is
Their
good.
defense is good.
And Philly's defense got better. They got healthier with
Yeah, they had some secondary guys hurt, and then Carter was back.
what's his name? God dang it, I should know his name. He's married to the Clinton girl.
Oh, Slay.
Slay
Darius
getting him
Slay.
back, and he was an immediate impact getting back.
Did you see that flop from Jalen Carter?
No.
We'll talk about it next. It's college football as well.
Paul Jones Drug offers a free service that makes taking your daily medications safe and easy. It's called convenience packaging, meaning they can combine all of your daily medications and put them in sealed, separate daily packages. This process replaces you from having to fill your daily medication dispenser. And as always, Paul Jones Drug prepares individual blister packaging for long-term care patients. With their drive-through window, curbside service, and free local delivery, it's just more reasons you should choose Paul Jones Drug, 809 North Main Street in Elk City.
I'm Rodney Skinner with Paul Jones Drug, and I promise we provide care you can trust.
The Skinny on Sports.
Welcome back. Skinny on Sports, 98.1 FM, the Sports Animal, wrapping up a Paul Jones Drug Tuesday. Hey, convenience packaging. We talk about it every week. No longer do you have to fill your pill caddy and make sure you have every pill and every day of the week at the right dosage. No. Paul Jones Drug individually packages your daily medication. All you have to do is open up the pack, take your medication, and move on down life's path. So convenient. That's why they call it convenience packaging. Durable medical equipment, which is your walkers, canes, crutches, etc. They accept most insurances, and also don't forget about the gifts and the greeting cards, all kinds of cool stuff down there at Paul Jones Drug. Check them out, 809 North Main. Paul Jones Drug is care you can trust. How much are you enjoying what's happening in Hollywood right now, Jared?
It's very, what's the word I'm looking for? Vindicating, satisfying. What karma is finally setting in the West Coast. I love it. I'm loving it. It's like it's like we told you. We told you, USC fans. You wanted to rub it in our face that you stole Lincoln Riley. You lured him away with Caleb Williams and all the great recruits following him. We told you what you were going to get. You were going to get bad defense. You're going to get no-shows at press conferences. You're going to get limited player access. All of that. And you're going to get the product on the field. I love it. I'm sitting back eating my popcorn, just like watching a Hollywood disaster flick.
Yeah, it's everything that OU fans warned about with the issues that everyone saw here. And it's just it's an absolute almost replay. The only difference is it's taken 1.5 years instead of 5. That's the only difference. Even down to I'm sick for this weekly press conference. I wonder exactly who he went and interviewed with. You know what I mean? That's the only thing you can think of. Yeah. It's got to be what's happening. I mean, maybe not, maybe not, whatever. But still, it's same song, second verse for sure. We hit a little bit on the Caleb Williams stuff yesterday with Emmanuel Acho. What do you think the chances are that he actually shuts it down?
I don't think he shuts it down.
Yeah, I don't either.
But
maybe for the bowl game, maybe for a bowl.
Maybe for a bowl game, but here's why. And it's not for the reasons some people would think because he's a team player and wants to be there for his team. I think it's because he's afraid of what people would say about him. Like an ego thing. Like, I don't want to look bad. And you mentioned the NFL scouting thing. It would look bad in their eyes too. But even though he's a short hit number one guy,
I don't know if he would be if he did this though.
You think that would?
I think it would at least put a seed of doubt.
I want to like Caleb Williams. Okay, even when he left, I understood why he left. I understand all that. I loved it when he was here for obvious reasons. Again, I want to like this guy, but something really told me, and this is the coach speak coming out of me after that game. His reaction on the bench. It spoke volumes to me. It really did. It really did. I'm like, get up. And I know you just lost this. The season's done. Your 2 losses. Your playoff hopes are done. Your Heisman hopes are done. I get it. But get up and show your opponent respect. They whipped your butts. They not even whipped your butts. They went down on the last-second drive and scored a field goal. Go shake hands.
Yeah.
It told me a lot. I just come on. Quit sulking about it and get up and be a man. It spoke volumes to me. And I try to take the component of he left OU and he's wearing USC and he's doing I try to take that out of it.
To this point, that's the only thing in my mind that he's done that was kind of like, But we're also not the NFL scouts. We're also not the GMs of these organizations. You know what? I guarantee you what bothers some of them? The fingernails. Stuff. And not necessarily just the painting of the fingernails, but also the messages that are on them.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, why is a coach allowing that? What?
Because the coach doesn't have any control.
No.
Whatsoever. Man, Michigan. This is not good. This does not look good. With their staffer, their analyst going around for the last couple of years, filming opponents' signals and during games. First off, and I didn't even really know this. I guess it makes sense with all the tape that you can watch or whatever. But, like, you're prohibited from scouting. Live in-person scouting. You're prohibited from doing that. And not only was that happening, but also some videoing of the opponent's signals. Is it too easy to connect Michigan's newly found dominance of the Big Ten and Ohio State, connect this directly to maybe the origins of this starting?
Be a weird coincidence, wouldn't it? And what's sad is kind of like the Houston Astros thing. Do they even need it? Do they need to cheat? They look really good on the field.
Well,
but maybe they're looking good because they know exactly where to be. And
yeah, the difference was the Astros are doing it without it.
Yeah,
and winning. Michigan wasn't. I think this is even worse than that because I think you can draw a direct line in the implementation of this scheme with Michigan starting to win the Big Ten and beating Ohio State.
How far up does it go?
Oh, there's no way that there's 0.000 chance that Harbaugh can have plausible deniability about this.
Oh, he will though.
There's no chance that can happen.
This was just a staffer. I didn't know what he was doing.
Do you think they'll really get onto him? Jim had an interesting take about this yesterday because what is the NCAA really doing right now? Nothing? Is this their chance to kind of lash back out and try to throw some weight around like they still have some power by just hammering the University of Michigan's football team?
Possibly using them as an example because we still have power.
I think so too. I think he's right.
Could Michigan turn around and go, no, you don't?
Well, we saw from the Kansas deal, whatever you do, don't cooperate.
Exactly.
Whatever you do, don't cooperate.
Yeah, from the text line, Harbaugh will get the bill self-treatment.
Yeah, that's exactly. I mean, that just don't cooperate with them. Oklahoma State cooperated with them over nothing.
Yep.
And we saw how that worked out.
Yep. They got hammered. Yep.
Did Iowa get robbed?
Yes. Yes, they did.
I think they did too.
Yeah. Like I said earlier, watching with the naked eye, without any context, there's nothing that indicated he's calling for a fair catch.
Well, and they did not. They did not review that play. They reviewed that play to see if he stepped out of bounds. It had nothing to do with whether or not it's a fair catch or not. And then all of a sudden this comes out. And then yesterday, P.J. Fleck. Come on, man. Acting like, oh, yeah, that's the rule. Shut up. If that was the rule, he would have been going insane on the sideline because that play happened right in front of him. Instead, he had surrender cobra written all over his face because he just gave up a game-winning punt return with a minute left in a game where his defense allowed 2 yards in the second half and he was going to lose. Don't tell me you knew what the rule was. Get out of here. Just be honest. Just be honest. We got one.
And now every punt this season, at every college football game, you're going to see the opposing coaches go, "No, they got fair catch."
Yeah, exactly.
Fair catch. He flicked his pinky finger. Did you see that?
And he in no way tried to call for a fair catch. He pointed with his right finger. He was almost trying to balance himself to get turned, like with his arm out, not up. I mean, oh my gosh. If I was Iowa people, I would be upset. Mm-hmm. Very, very upset as a Hawkeye. Because think about the legend of Cooper DeJean. If that's how that game ends in Iowa City,
right.
Just ripped away from him.
Yeah.
All right, give me your top 10 in college football this week.
I got Utah at 10. They just obviously last week was I don't even know if we're calling it a nice win anymore. USC's just Charmin soft, but arguably the one of the best game-ending drives next to OU's. That run by the quarterback was awesome, and they just continue to win without rising. They continue to do it. Defense is a big part of it. Look out for Bama. I have them at 9. I want to put them higher, but they still have that one loss. Texas at 8. They kind of got away with one in Houston with that spot of the ball and all that stuff. And the big question for me is their quarterback. What's the quarterback situation going to look like moving forward for the next 3 or 4 weeks? OU, I dropped them down to 7. They didn't look as sharp. Still hung on the win, still undefeated. They just got to find that run game. Bounced Oregon up to 6. I think that was a nice bounce-back win for them. Ohio State at 5. Can they hang their hat on having the 2 best wins of the year with Notre Dame and Penn State? So far, I think so. Washington at 4, just kind of holding pace. They had a little bit of a hangover, but still won. Florida State at 3. They've barely struggled. Maybe at Clemson they did, but they got the win. And I watched a lot of that Duke game. Never once did I think Florida State was going to lose that game. Mm-hmm. That they just looked the better team on the field, and they proved it there in the fourth quarter. Michigan at 2, outside the scandal, like I said earlier, I think they're still good skill-wise. And Georgia, they just keep humming along, number 1.
All right, I got Ole Miss at 10, Oregon State just behind them. I put Oregon 9, Bama 8, Texas 7, Washington 6, Sooners 5, Florida State 4, Ohio State 3, Michigan 2, and Georgia number 1. The schedule for November the 4th in the SEC is out. It's going to be a doubleheader that day. The early game at 2:30 will be Mizzou at Georgia, and the nightcap will be LSU at Bama. If you're wondering about Bedlam, that's a huge day in college football, by the way. Holy Moses, there's games all over the place. You can go ahead. I don't even think pencil in. I think you can go ahead and write a magic marker down for Bedlam at 11 a.m.
Yeah, I think so too.
Fox's choice. The other games they have a choice of are like Ohio. It's Ohio State. It's by far the most attractive game if both teams win this week.
In that time slot,
it's not even close. And Fox. Now this could. They love the big new kickoff. But you know what else could be happening that day on Fox?
What?
Game 7 of the World Series.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
And that would certainly be in prime.
I looked at the schedule last night.
Yeah, that would certainly be in prime time. So,
yeah.
You can go ahead and book an 11 a.m. Bedlam, I think.
Right.
Up in Stillwater.
Cool.
Especially if both teams win this week. All right, thank you to Rodney and Paul Jones Drug. Every Tuesday is a Paul Jones Drug Tuesday. Stay dry out there, Oklahoma. We'll be back tomorrow.
You've been listening to the Skinny on Sports podcast with Aaron Cow. Be sure to hit that subscribe button to get alerts of when the latest podcast is available. Thanks for listening.
That ball is blistered to right. Way